There are three very simple ways to get a Fennec, Chespin, and Froakie inside of Pokemon Legends C8. I will take you through all the locations, what you have to do in each of these side quests to get each of these Pokemon fairly easily. Let's get into it. Now first you're going to have to progress the game until you are able to freely roam the entire city. Once you do that, you'll see a bunch of different side quests that you can go and interact with. One that we're going to talk about very first is going to be around the Chespin. When you look at your map, you're going to see a side quest available in Rogue Sector 2. When you make your way here, you're going to see a Chespin in front of a taxi trying to battle this taxi. Once you have interacted with the taxi driver, they're going to tell you that this Chespin is just trying to fight in general and get stronger. What you're going to have to do to actually acquire this Chespin is fight this Chespin 3 separate times. Now this is by far the easiest because it's simply 3 battles back to back against one single Pokemon. Eventually the taxi driver is going to stop your fighting and tell you that the Chespin just needs to go and train with the trainer, and the Chespin will agree and simply join your team, easy as that. Next of these 3 Pokemon that we're going to talk about is going to be Froakie. You need to make your way to the location that I'm pinning on my map, which is going to be in Jean Sector 8, right next to the Northern Boulevard, where you're going to see a construction worker right in front of an obstacle course. Interact with this construction worker and you're going to go through a climbing challenge to get to the top of the structure in under 30 seconds. Once you have completed that challenge, you're going to move on to another construction climbing challenge where you're going to have to go through this next structure in under 40 seconds. Every time you're going through these structures, you're trying to beat a time that the Froakie that you see on top of these structures has already done. You're going to have to go through a total of 3 separate construction climbing challenges and 3 separate obstacle courses, progressing and getting a little more difficult as you go with more seconds, thankfully. Now these first 2 climbing challenges are right next to each other, so you really don't have to look hard for them, and thankfully if you track this quest line, you're able to find them fairly easily on the map. But the final location, if you don't track this quest line, is going to be at the Northern Boulevard, all the way at the very top of the entire map itself, again right in front of a very large climbing section. Once you have completed all 3 of these challenges, the construction worker is going to say that you're a ninja master, obviously hinting to the fully evolved form of Froakie himself, and says that you two have formed a special bond and tells you that the Froakie is just going to join your team, a very easy way to get a Froakie in the game. And finally, going to get the Fennec very early on in the game, you need to make your way into the Magenta Sector 2, where you're going to see another one of these side quest symbols inside of a cluster of buildings. Here you're going to see an older lady right above a Fennec that looks like it's asleep but is actually sick. What you're then going to have to do is then go and search for a particular doctor that's going to be outside of a coffee shop. Again, if you track the quest line, it'll automatically tell you where you need to go, but in case you don't track the quest line, you want to go to this Cafe Classe, which is going to be a good distance away from where you interacted with that Fennec. Once here, you're going to see this old man sitting at a table that allows you to interact with him, and he's going to tell you what you need to look for this Fennec to help heal it. That item is going to be found inside of the wild area number 5. You're going to be looking for a revitalizing twig. Tracking this questline will give you multiple locations of different revitalizing twigs that could work for this Fennec. Now there are a couple different ways to actually get to the location needed inside of the wild area number 5. The one that I'm showing you is a fairly easy one that gets you really close to the location that you need to go. You are going to need a water Pokemon that has water gun or bubble beam to knock down all the sludge right in front of the entrance. Once you do that, you want to follow the path that I'm going to show you, and there's going to be multiple different locations that you can go and find the revitalizing twig, but the one that worked for me is going to be at the top of the ladder on the edge of the wild zone number 5, next to all these different bug Pokemon. Now I am unsure if this is going to be the same revitalizing twig location that is going to work in your game, but again, there are multiple different locations inside of this small area that work for the revitalizing twigs. But now that you have the revitalizing twig, you can make your way back to the old woman and the Fennec and interact with them once again. You're going to feed that revitalizing twig to the Fennec, which will then heal it and energize it back to full health. As soon as that happens, you're going to see that the Fennec is interested in you, and the woman even says so, basically just giving you the okay that this Fennec is going to join your team, kind of like the other situations that we had with the Chespin and the Froakie. Again, you can do this extremely early on in the game as soon as you get to the point where you can explore the entire Luminous City without any restrictions, so I highly recommend they do that if you want to get these 3 starter Pokemon onto your team very early on. Now I hope you found this walkthrough guide helpful. If you did, make sure to hit the like, subscribe buttons for me down below so I know that you did find this walkthrough guide helpful, and I'll catch you in the next video.